Hello everybody and welcome to the final round of the Virtual Circuit Racing GT3 Championship this season. It is Circuit of the Americas, the last round of this championship, and we've got a championship fight as well on our hands. Josh Heathwaite and Traffic King are only a point apart. It's effectively a winner-takes-all tonight, the final round of the season. And indeed our final round on AC as well before iRacing is the simulator of choice. Indeed, in an hour's time after this broadcast, there's a test on iRacing for all these drivers to get used to things before we get going very early in January with the new season. But I'm Ewan alongside James Parfitt for this final round of the season, and it is going to be back and forth between the top two. In fact, it already has been in the first 11 minutes of qualifying. Traffic King was on pole as we joined them live, and Josh Heathwaite, just as we've been live, has taken that top spot away after trailing him quite significantly in practice. It's pretty rare, James, that you get to see a championship that's as close as this heading into the final round.
And I'd like to point out we did predict it as well. We did say that if this things carry on with the progress of Traffic King and everything else that's coming in towards the end of this championship, that we knew it was going to be close, and it is going to be close. It is literally a winner takes all. One race, 20 minutes as well. Ames is in YouTube chat. I hope you're feeling okay. I'm all right. I'm not okay, but I'm okay, if that makes an ounce of sense as well, which is allowing me, I'm here. So there you go. But yeah, it's come down to this race as well, which is good, I suppose, the fact that we've got a final round decider. It's just unfortunate it's at Coda. I don't like this circuit, I've got to be honest, but I do believe that this is going to provide some action for this 120-minute championship decider shootout.
It's a very short final race for a championship, but that's what we've had throughout most of this season. In fact, only 4 of the 9 rounds will be, and have been rather, the reverse grid rounds, where we have 2 15-minute races instead. 1 20-minute race for us tonight to decide the winner. The real thing that's brought this down is Traffic King and Josh Heathwaite's results last week. 62 points picked up by Traffic King, which is just 3 off the most of anybody. Chris McIntosh actually picked up the most of anybody in the race last week at Spa, the races, and Josh Heathwaite only 35. So lost 27 points to Traffic King when he had a 28-point championship lead. So that is what's really brought this back. I guess McIntosh is mathematically involved, but not realistic that he could get involved, unfortunately, in the championship fight here tonight. He will likely finish 3rd this season, as he probably has enough over Dave Price as well to see him off in this last round as well. But he has won the last 2 weeks, as Chris McIntosh, and is in good form going towards next season, you'd imagine, and towards iRacing as well. But last week, so decisive for this season. And you've got to look at the championship leader, I think, in scenarios like that. You see a 28-point championship lead going into the last 2 rounds. And in my opinion, when you're the championship leader there, you realise that's effectively, I've got to not lose, or lose less rather, than 14 points per round. And in terms of the standings last time out, there were 5 drivers, who lost less than 14 points on the most points of anybody. So it was definitely possible for Josh Heathwaite to do it, because 4 others did it. However, he was not one of them, and lost almost the whole of his championship lead in 1 week, which you can't really afford to do when you're the championship leader with so little time remaining in this season.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just one of them things, isn't it? I think that's racing. And that's what we knew was going to come down to it. We knew Traff was on a march. We knew all of this as the season went on. You know, it's great that we've had Chris McIntosh take his first win this season as well. Race 2 at Red Bull Ring. He's gone on and won VIR. And, you know, there's a lot of progress. And I'm interested. Tom Burnett got a win last week as well, race 2 at Spa. So, you know, there's a lot of people progressing this season. And it'd be interesting to see how they all get on in iRacing. Now, one of the things I do want to question, they can't ballast in iRacing. They can't ballast drivers in iRacing. You've either got to ballast the car. Now the problem is they're all using the same car, and you can't just ballast that one car. So maybe ballast for next season has got to go out the window. There's nothing they can do about that, unfortunately. iRacing doesn't allow you to ballast a driver. As I said, you can only ballast the car, and everybody's using the same blinking thing. So everybody don't want to cop the same amount of ballast, so that's going to have to go out the window. But it does allow us then to see how much practice these guys are going to get in on this session. How much are they going to be able to get done as well with this MX-5? It's still a very tricky car to drive, even now, even with the tyre models and the upgrades and everything else they poured in for it. It's still quite tricky. So I'm interested to see how that one works. I'm interested to see how many people we can get to go over to iRacing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. Ames is getting Nutrigen. It makes sense. I had pneumonia and it was horrid. Yep, this is my third dose of this, Ames, to be honest. I know somewhat know your pain. Yeah, it's not been good, to be blatantly honest. I've literally had a week off work and I've done nothing all week. I have to be honest. I've literally sat in the bed. I've even set up my Nintendo Switch because I was getting that bored sitting upstairs in bed watching TV. So yeah, it's been a very eventful doing nothing week, Ames, I've got to be honest. But I think coming down into this season, who do you think is going to get it, Ewan? Who do you think is going to come out on top? Because I think this is going to be incredibly close.
Well, yeah, it is definitely going to be close. One thing that is going to be in... the reason I'm going to go for Haythwaite, I'm not avoiding the question, the reason I'm going to go for Haythwaite is because he's got so much less weight on compared to Traffic King because of last week. And that is, you know, the pros and cons, I suppose, of a ballast system the way we have it here. I do like it in the AC, the fact that you can put it on individual cars,
Yeah.
and those who did well last week do get pegged back a little bit, and I do think iRacing misses that sometimes. However, the disadvantage is you could get a scenario like this where you've got a series leader who has just got his nose in front, and because of a bad week last week is actually in a better position than if he'd have had a good week. So I think he finished 7th in points last week, if I'm not mistaken. And that would that's a long way behind second place Traffic King. Now, he's not got the maximum weight on board. That would have been, that is Chris McIntosh, who seems to be struggling anyway, because the ballast doesn't cost you 2.7 seconds. That will be a little bit driver involved there as well, but it won't be helping the extra weight that he's got on board. And, you know, Haythwaite is a lot lighter, therefore, than Traffic King. You can never bet against Traffic King, though, I've found, while doing this series. So you just never know, but that's a very big gap in qualifying, even though this is a very long lap of 2 minutes 3. It's a very big gap of 3/4 of a second, and Traffic King hasn't improved on his lap since we came live nearly 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, there isn't any improvements at all, to be honest, and I'm not worried about it. You know, some may sit here and say, did Josh plan to not have a bad week last week, not get ballast? Did he plan that coming into the season decider? Is he that sneaky?
I doubt it. I'd be impressed, shall I say, if he did, because that'd be quite some foresight, wouldn't it? But that's another thing with the ballast, isn't it? What if you're the championship leader? Do you let someone catch up by a little bit so that you can be lighter than them at the final round? I don't think that's the tactics he would be playing for. But yeah, it's something else worth thinking about when you're looking at ballast.
Exactly. Conspiracy theory. Did Josh purposely have a bad round at VIR to get less ballast for the final round here as well? Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? But I think Chaff's going to give him a fight. What I'd love to have seen him do is just reset ballast. So, right, championship decided, but nobody has anything.
Or
clean slate.
Or put the ballast based on the championship standings for the final round rather than the previous race. So do it the same as before, but maybe that'd be a bit unfair, because then you might be scrapping over who's leading the championship and indeed not wanting to lead the championship going into the final race, which would be a little bit odd as well. But and it's difficult to change the rules halfway through the season for the final race, isn't it? But yeah, all these things I'm sure will have been thought about, and they are worth just thinking about as well. The only way you can do ballast in iRacing, and this is by no means do I think they should do this because of the cars that we've got next season and just the way that the races are going to work. I did or have done a series in the past where the ballast, this was an endurance series to be fair, and this isn't, but the best, because Traffic King has a big slide on this lap, he won't be improving, I wouldn't imagine, and he will start from second place at best. And so Luke Woodhouse as well. The best finishers from the previous round were effectively given a pit stop penalty, if you like. So everybody had to make pit stops in that race, obviously because it was an endurance series. and the winner got 30 seconds, second place got 20 seconds, third place got 10 seconds, added to their first pit stop effectively, which really gave them something to chase for and something else to think about throughout those races. Not suggesting we should do that here particularly, because MX5 Racing doesn't really have pit stops in it, which would make it not make sense, but that's the only way really you can do the same kind of thing in our racing.
Yeah, I don't know, leave them alone. Let them race. Forget the ballast. Just let them race, let them go and prove who's best and do it that way. You know, if you end up with like you can visually see that there's two halves of the table, yeah, like a top half and a middle half, have a pro and am fight. One's pros, one ams, if you can visually see that, and but it really does depend on how many of them are signing up for this at the moment and how many we're going to get to come through and join us in iRacing, because obviously it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? You've got to pay for your tracks and you've got to pay for your car, or you might not have to pay for the MX5 actually, but you've got to pay for your monthly memberships, and it's a big jump from AC when you're getting mods made for you for nothing. And I'd like to see them do well, and I'd like to see the series take off massively, but we're going to see how they get on. But let's not forget, we need to wrap this one up first, and at the moment Traffic King, no improvements, and he's sitting 7.5 tenths back.
Yeah, it's a very big difference compared to practice, where Hayfreight was actually quite a long way behind. I thought, well, Traffic King, if he wins this race, has got this, although that's the case for either of them. It's effectively winner takes all here, or indeed whoever finishes ahead of the other, if they don't go on to win, either of them. So we'll see whether they do, where they finish indeed. But at the moment, Josh Hayfreight certainly holds the advantage going into this final race of the season. Just 20 minutes, and I've quite enjoyed the shorter races this year. I must admit, I do prefer the two race days. 2 15-minute races feels a bit better to me. Full reverse grid has always provided excitement, but because of this field and the way that it's worked, and we've not really had any circuits where it's been sort of impossible to overtake from what I can remember, it's very much been a case of the guys at the front in race 1 getting to the front of race 2 as well, or at least being able to get to the front in race 2 as well, which I think is a good thing really for a reverse grid race. And it's a shame that we don't have it for the final race, but you can understand why. It's just a straight 20-minute fight for the title here tonight.
Yeah, I like that idea though. I've got to be honest, I like that idea for the final round. Straight 20-minute fight, bang. Checkered to for green to checkered. Who's going to come out on top? Is it going to be Hayfreight? Is it going to be King? Is there any going to be action in between with Woodhouse, Price, James, Addy? Is McIntosh going to surprise us and all of a sudden come out like Max Verstappen from the back end? Is Chamoy going to make the car keep going in the same direction? There's a lot of variables in this one, and I'm looking forward to this. And I think we could have an absolute banger, but I also believe we may also have some controversial moments going into this one.
Well, maybe. I mean, Traffic King surely has got to be aggressive on the way towards turn 1, you'd imagine, because he is behind as it stands, and a long way behind in this qualifying session. So he's got to get in front of Hayfreight, I think, and then defend from the front from there on. But they're both going to be aggressively diving towards turn 1, I'd imagine, and seeing where they end up on the other side of this final race of the season. As qualifying is complete, waiting for the session to jump forward. The only driver, by the way, you can see on the left-hand side who didn't set a time, so you can't see them, sorry, John Hale. So he will be at the very back of the field in 10th, but Shamo Samuel will be there ahead. Chris McIntosh, long way back there on row 4 with Tom Burnett, with Matthew Addy and Luke James. Row 3, Dave Price and Luke Woodhouse then next on row 2. And then rounding it off is Hayfreight and King on the front row together. One of those few championship battles that could be settled here tonight in terms of an actual change. Matthew Addy and Tom Burnett are also quite close for the last spot inside the top 5. If indeed things are going to change there as well. Can't imagine there are going to be many more changes unless there are some big surprises tonight. But good to see Luke Woodhouse back on the grid again for only the second time since Road Atlanta, all the way back in the second round of this season. That was a long time ago, but good that he's back in the series for the final couple of races.
Yeah, it's good to have him back, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on here as well. But we're going to have the lights on very, very shortly, ready to go. And you'll be able to see these guys motor away. Who's going to come out on top? That's going to be the question.
And here we go. Championship going to be settled tonight here in the Virtual Circuit Racing GT3 Championship, with just 1 point separated between the top two. Who is going to take the title? As the lights come on at Kota, and we are held for a while but underway. Heavyweight with a decent launch and immediately moves over to the left-hand side of the road to block off Traffic King in towards turn one. He knows the score here, but so does King. He has a look at the inside. Heavyweight very tight to the inside, defending that leading position. But he does so successfully in front of Traffic King. Then Dave Price in front of Addy and Woodhouse, who are side by side down the hill as well. Not a great start for Lou Woodhouse, actually, especially if he sits behind Addy as well. And he might do through the chicanes. And he does hold on to 4th place at least. A big side in front of him from Dave Price, and it's soon going to be 3rd. As Price got off to a good start, he's immediately to the back of the field.
Yeah, all the way down the back end there for Price. Unfortunately, he's just got it wrong coming in through the S's. Easily done. King did not get over Heathwaite at the beginning. He's got to try and do it another way. Burnett has just passed James. There's a big clump of action going on here. James, McIntosh, Samuel, all in their own little fight as well. Samuel almost sending it 3 wide on that run down into turn number 12. But it's all getting very, very mixture. But this is where it's all going to kick off. This is where we want the action up the front. And I think this is where we're going to get it.
Yeah, Traffic King had a look down the inside on the way towards turn 11 there. But it's the run onto here that you really want. And he's not really got it on the straight in the slipstream here. He'd have to dive from a very, very long way back indeed. Little bit of a lock up there from Heathwaite by the looks of things. I'm not sure how that's possible. Traffic King following him very closely indeed. You can see in the mirror, Woodhouse is there, then Matthew Addy, and then you've got that group further behind where it's all happening really. It's very, very busy further back in the field. This is the final sector now, where there's many chances to dive down the inside, so I think it's a bit of an underrated section for racing through there, but single file this time round, and they do look to have settled just a little bit at the end of lap 1 of what is going to be a 10-lap race.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit mental. I've got a funny feeling this is as well. This is where I think most of the action is going to come from. Woodhouse is going to have Addy up his back end very, very shortly. And King is going after Heathwaite. This is the battle of the big boys. There is no other options between these guys going on at the moment. And this is where it's all going to kick off from. So we're going to try and keep as much eye on the front and as the rest of the field as possible. But I've got a funny feeling we need to just find out what is going to happen here. Heathwaite or King? And I don't know.
I'll still back Heathwaite here because I do think King is pushing really hard to stay with him at the moment, and Heathwaite seems to be driving a little bit more within himself than maybe King is, but maybe that's not true, and we'll see as King just taking different lines here through the S's, the back end, and getting a good run onto the downhill section towards turn 11 again, and this is where he had a dive last lap. Heathwaite a bit more wise to it this time, is he? Defending to the inside, but is that only just going to compromise his run all the way down the straight? It might well do, as they come out of turn 11 now and get right into the slipstream Traffic King. He is alongside already, but I'm not sure that Ferrari really has the straight line speed, to be honest, compared to the Acura. Let's see if it does, as he gets alongside directly. Is he going to continue to drag alongside? No. And now it starts to switch just at the back end of the straight, just when they get into the top speed section. He's still on the inside, King, but he doesn't have the straight line speed, so that's worth bearing in mind for the future. He's got his nose in front, coming towards turn 13. Heathwaite still there, very close to contact, but Traffic King takes the lead for now, and Josh Heathwaite forced to respond back down the inside into the next hairpin, and Traffic King holds on to the lead.
You know, my fear of these guys doing this now is look at where Woodhouse is. If Woodhouse wants to be a party pooper and wants to be a championship decider, he can get himself involved in this, because these guys are not going to stop this fighting. And the problem with that is they're just bringing the people in behind. Woodhouse is bringing Addy along for the ride as well. So this could be a 4-way fight within the next 15 minutes. Don't forget 2 minutes 6 laps, 2 minutes 6 last lap around. But that's because they were fighting as well. So we could get a 3-car battle here with all of these guys up the front as well. McIntosh looks like he's just had some drama coming around the final corner, and unfortunately he's lost a position. However, him and Price have just swapped positions, so maybe it was them two in contact, and Price has just allowed him to take that position back there as well. That's probably what I'm reading from that. Hey, on the upside, at least next season we'll have replays.
He's good, yeah. That's one downside of AC. I'd say I'm sad to leave it, to be honest. But you know, there is an upside in that we'll get to see some replays next season of all the things that go on that we're not able to catch live. Traffic King suddenly race pace looking pretty strong here. We'll see whether Heavyweight, as I say, is driving within himself here and he is going to respond later, or whether this really is a bit of a struggle for him at the moment. But Traffic King is pulling away, you've got to say, and Heavyweight can't let this get out of control. It's not a long race.
No, it isn't, and that's the thing for Heavyweight. He needs to stay with him and needs to be able to say, right, you know, this is it, this is the battle. This is where we're going to go at it toe to toe now. We're going to settle it in Texas. And this is the thing. And I think Heavyweight, from his own personal opinions on this, he's got to look back and go, how am I going to do this and when? When is more important than the how, I think, because if he does it early, it gives the King the opportunity to come back at him. If he does it too late, he might not get the opportunity again. So when is Heavyweight going to be able to make this move? And if he's going to be able to make this move?
Yeah, that is the key here. As he gets pretty close through this section, the triple right-hander closes right up to the back of Traffic King through there, but no way through just at the moment. Tighter to the apex there, the second last turn. Here's the final corner. Pretty simple, and oh, Heavyweight brakes quite late. Very nearly gets straight into the back of Traffic King in front. He's putting more pressure on this time round as they complete 3 laps of 10. It's a 20-minute race, but because of the amount of time this lap takes, probably going to be 10 laps. Will Heavyweight go for a dive? Well, King was expecting him to, and just covers him off a little bit, but I'm seeing at the moment Heavyweight a little bit stronger under brakes, you must. He seems to close up in every zone there.
Yeah, he definitely does, and the question is as well, they're slowly dropping off the guys behind. Woodhouse is slowly losing pace with them, so he might not become a factor. Price and Samuel have just had a right old little ding-dong going down into turn 1, and Price has managed to get McIntosh and Samuel, so it looks like, unfortunately for Chamoy, he's just lost a couple of places there to the guys in front of him, but still more action to come, I'm sure, from these ones as well. I want to give Hale a shout out. I've got to give him a shout out because I think he's had a really rough season. He's had a very much a learning season this year, has John Hale, and he's done a great job. He's sitting in the top 10 in the championship. He's out there every week in his Merc and he's doing his thing. So big massive props to John, who's still out there racing on the back end. Price and McIntosh side by side.
Yeah, indeed. And a dive here from Price to get past Chris McIntosh, who was the winner last week at or the biggest point scorer from Spa, and very much seems to be struggling a little bit more this week at Circuit of the Americas. Although Dave Price is the driver you'd expect to see a bit further up as well. These two are 3rd and 4th in the championship indeed, and they're currently battling over 7th and 8th position in this race, just in front of Samuel Samuel. Dave Price just defending into turn 12, and he will hold on to just 7th place pretty comfortably there in front of McIntosh as a result of that. But oh no, he won't. He'll slide again, and that's what he did in lap 1, isn't it, through the opening sector. He's going to turn back underneath McIntosh and maybe retake the place straight away here, but as he was getting on the power there, he was sliding all over the place, and Price needs to be careful with his right foot from now, because that's a couple of times in just the last 10 minutes we've seen it right round the outside through the triple right-hander, and he might well have got himself through. That's very excellently done, actually, from Price to win that place back, although he never should have been in that position in the first place. Here comes Samuel, and Chris McIntosh is surprisingly down to 9th, although he turns underneath Samuel and gets 8th place straight back again.
Is ballast orientated, do you reckon, for Chris, or he's just not loving Cota? What do you reckon?
Well, I said earlier that, you know, it's... and Samuel goes back down the inside again. It's definitely partly ballast, and same thing happens again. McIntosh goes straight back through. I think partly ballast, but, you know, he was nearly 3 seconds behind the best time in qualifying. You don't lose 3 seconds in terms of ballast, because, I mean, Traffic King, who's got the second most ballast of anybody on, was only 7 tenths behind. So, yeah, I don't believe it's all ballast. I think it's a combination of that and McIntosh not particularly liking this circuit.
Yeah, well, maybe then. I think it could be the mixture of that. I think Chris probably just doesn't like Cota. He ain't alone, I'm sure. 8 weight now with King, 10 minutes to go. 4 laps gone. This is coming down to the moments of the moments here. Who's going to be able to come out on top of this one? I don't know. I think Josh should, but I wouldn't put past Traff to take it from him.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world to see either of these two win, to be honest. It's got to be one of the two, but I'm still sticking with Haythwaite at the moment as he looks at the inside. If it comes down to the last lap, we're going to see quite some moves through this section when we get there. Haythwaite tries to close off Traffic King, side by side through the triple right-hander. They're about to get to half distance, and they're no closer to sorting this one out between the two of them. King goes in front of Haythwaite towards the penultimate corner, but he gets it wrong. The different line he takes puts him off the circuit. Now he's driven himself off into the outside of the circuit completely. Josh Haythwaite goes through, and he leads on half distance here.
I still wouldn't put this past King. I still would not put this past King at all. I've got to be honest, he is looking a little bit more raggedy. I'm not going to lie. He is looking a little bit more raggedy than Haythwaite. He's got to be a little bit more composed and in that as well, with the Acura and the Ferrari. But I still think King may get this. I've just got this funny feeling there's a scent coming from somewhere.
Yeah, there must be. Traffic King is not going to let this go easily. But there's already been a couple of changes here in this first half of the race. Josh Haythwaite qualifying on pole, having it taken away from him, or having the lead taken away from him. Traffic King has lost the lead, and he's got that wrong. His gap now, Josh Haythwaite, is going to increase to nearly a second. Is this the moment where finally the leader stamps their authority over this field? And will Traffic King be able to drag Haythwaite back and drag him back into a battle again in the closing laps of this season?
Oh, that defining moment through 8 and 9 for Traffic King. You just see it, he got it wrong, he got squiggly, he got squirrely, couldn't get it back down on the power, and before we know it, he was 8 tenths gone, and it was just like, that's it, second. He's got to stay with him, something has got to happen, because if Haythwaite pulls off now, this is it, it's over. We're watching, you know, a parade, a procession almost of cars just go round Coda, because that is the one of the closest battles that we had. Obviously you can just see in the background as well Mr. Burnett slowly closing in on Addy and Woodhouse, so that might come to a nice little battle a little bit later on, maybe within a couple of laps or two. It's now 1.2 seconds. Is this one finished?
Well, it's certainly the biggest gap that we've seen in this race, but can it come back again in favour of Traffic King? Look at those last laps there. In fact, Traffic King is going to be overtaken by everybody as far as their last lap is concerned. Luke Woodhouse and Matthew Addy were both quicker than him last time round, and Tom Burnett was as well, down in 5th position. So that just shows you what a mistake it was. And he's got a real job on his hands now. And don't forget, the odds are stacked against him anyway, as far as I can see. I mean, he is a lot heavier in terms of ballast. Josh Haythwaite, therefore much lighter. And yes, there's only 1 point between them, but that's in favour of Haythwaite. Now, again, if either of these two win tonight, then they'll win the championship as well. And that goes for pretty much any position, to be honest, whoever finishes ahead of the other. And therefore, the odds definitely stacked against Traffic King. But he's fighting, and through that first sector, he looks to have brought Haythwaite back again a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. He's just taking 6 tenths out of him. Literally. 6 tenths out of him in sector number 1. So if we can get this back again, we might still be on for this championship decider between Traff and Josh, as they're on their run down now into turn number 12. But he's got to make sure that he can get this right again, bring this back. You've got it back to half a second. Don't lose it again. Now, Traff, you've got to make sure that he pulls Josh in, and they can battle this one right away to the end.
Well, there'll be 3 laps to go when they get to the end of this lap. So let's see what happens here on those 3 laps. They've left the others behind them. They've shown themselves to be the top 2 in this field throughout this season. There's not been a single round this season where neither of them have finished in the top 2. In fact, Either of them have won. One or the other has won every round up until VIR a couple of weeks ago, when Chris McIntosh has got on a double winning streak of 2 races in a row. But that will come to an end tonight, it seems. It's going to be Haythwaite or King for the title. 1/10 of a second quicker from Traffic King last time around, but all of that will have come in the first sector, I'd imagine, because he did lose a bit again in the latter part of the lap.
Yeah, he's got to bring it back again, didn't he? You can see it in the background as well, though. You got Woodhouse is going to be under pressure from Addy and Burnett as they're continuing their fight on. The problem is these three are very similar in pace, and nobody's really making inroads over each other. It's sort of kind of here at the beginning that we're really seeing the movement of King and Haythwaite. King brings it in sector 1, Haythwaite extends it in sector 2, and that's kind of how it's been. But let's see. Let's just see. We're not done yet. 4.5 minutes to go.
Just 4.5 minutes remaining in this race, and Josh Haythwaite will be nervous at this point, I'd imagine. There will be nerves for both of these two at the front of the field because of the stakes, if you like, that what's on the line here tonight in this final round of the Virtual Circuit Racing GT3 Championship, and the final round of this series, indeed, on a set of Corsa as well. In just half an hour's time, in fact, there's a test session on iRacing as everybody gets prepared for the new year and indeed the new season, which I guess we'll talk about a little bit after the race. But 2 laps to go at the end of this one, and Haythwaite he's holding this one, and Traffic King's pushing harder and harder, and the harder he pushes, the more difficult it gets. That was a big slide, and he's got a big job on his hands now to close a second and a half in just 2 laps.
That's it. I think that's done. Unless Josh makes some unprecedented error, I think, yeah, that's the mistake that's going to cost him.
Well, that's the thing as well, isn't it, about Haythwaite in this race? He actually hasn't made any errors. That's that's one of the differences between these two.
But then we did say that, didn't we? We did say it looked like Josh was more driving, more, I'm not going to say capable, because Traff is clearly capable, but more within himself, more within, what's the word, more control.
No, within himself.
Yeah, more control over the car and composure, where Traff always seems to be a very head down, steam coming out of his ears and going for it. And unfortunately, it just looks like he's just a couple of mistakes just cost him. And 1.5, I think, is way too much to try and make up.
Well, yeah, I don't think Trafford normally looks like that, but I think he realises the scale of the challenge he's got tonight, and he's maybe pushing harder as a result to try and counteract that. But I'm not sure there's much more he could have done here to hold on from Haythwaite. The odds were always going to be stacked against him with the extra weight he has on board, but he won't have given up yet by any means. The gap will be less than a second and a half to Josh Haythwaite out front, and he'll push to the very end to try and take that position away. Tom Burnett is very close to Matthew Addy for 4th place in the background, by the way. Luke Woodhouse still holding on to a podium place in the final round of this season as well. See whether Burnett can get down the inside at the end of the straight here. The advantage in straight line speed that this car has is not going to be a factor here because they're all in the same. And indeed, Burnett is not able to get close enough this time round by the end of the straight, and there's just 1 lap to go in the season at the end of this one.
We're down at 1.3. We're at 1.6. Is there hope yet? I don't know. I still think we're a little bit further out, and I think Josh is going to wrap this one up 1.4 seconds back. But you never know at the same time, as we're going to be entering into the final lap this time around.
Yeah, we certainly will be. Just over a minute remaining. Only time for 1 more lap here at Circuit of the Americas. Only time for 1 more lap here on AC in the Virtual Circuit Racing Championship. Another lap in which Traffic King is closing on Josh Haythwaite. But he'll need another 10 minutes, I would suggest, to catch up to Haythwaite at this rate. They're very evenly matched, as they have been throughout the whole season. One or the other of them, or indeed both, in the top 2 on every single time this championship. And they're going to end the season finishing 1 and 2 as well on the racetrack, as well as in the championship. Tom Burnett, meantime, in the battle for 4th, has gotten past Matthew Addy on the way towards the S's.
Yeah, I think that was done up on the run into turn 1, to be honest. I think he got him up on the hill. and then cemented it on the run back through. So unfortunately, Addy is down in 5th. Look at this. It's now half a second here, Ewan.
Yeah, it's just getting to Haythwaite a little bit. This pressure. Is Traffic King done just yet? And I mentioned earlier, the final sector does have a lot of opportunity for overtaking, if indeed you're going to require it on the last lap. And Traffic King certainly does require it. So let's see what happens here as the seconds tick by. That will be it. No more laps remaining at the end of this one. Traffic King not close enough towards turn 12, but this is only the start of the final section here. He'll be pushing hard again. Remember, he had that big slide through out of this corner before when he was pushing to try maybe get down the inside at the next corner, but look how far back he is from here. He's taking that different line. That's where you'd normally go for the dive, but again, he's not close enough. Haythwaite has just kept him at arm's length all throughout this race and likely frustrated Traffic King throughout. He led for a little while in this race, did Traffic King, but in the end, he's not going to come out with the race victory, I don't think, unless Haythwaite makes a mistake. Through the final couple of corners, he nailed the unsighted apex at the penultimate corner, and he'll get in for the final turn now as well. With Traffic King too far back, Josh Haythwaite is going to win at Circuit of the Americas, and he is going to hold on to win the Virtual Circuit Racing GT3 Championship this season. Josh Haythwaite is your winner. The gap at the line, round about a second between the two championship contenders.
Yeah, great fight there. Well done to Josh on that one. Something happened with Tim Burnett and Matthew Addy, because Addy's taken 4th place and Burnett ended up a long way back. James comes over the line in 6th, Price in 7th, McIntosh 8th. Jamoy Samuel comes over the line in 9th, and John in the pit lane at 10th place. But great job from all of them as they start doing donuts and other wonderful things.
Trying to do donuts. I mean, there's a lot of smoke being made there, but not a lot of donuts.
This is also true. It's like my kitchen when the missus is cooking. You know what I mean? There's a lot of smoke, but not a lot of donuts.
You need to be careful.
Hey, she can't hear me. It's fine.
That's a lot of and Haythwaite indeed just give it up, and it goes back to the pit lane. But yeah, that is the final race of this season. And in the end, Josh Haythwaite is your winner. We'll hopefully chat to all of those who were involved in that race there just at the end here tonight, and get their thoughts a little bit on next season as well, and indeed the season that's passed, because between the two of them, Haythwaite and King are going to be separated by no more than 5 or 6 points. It's going to be very, very close in the history books, as it has been while watching it as well. Let's bring in Josh Haythwaite, shall we, and have a chat to the champion this season. Josh, welcome in. Congratulations on holding on for the title, holding on for the race win here tonight as well. Just tell us about those final few laps when the pressure was being heaped on you there.
Oh, it was just so stressful. So stressful. I'm sat there sweating bullets. Traff was edging ever closer, and I was just watching that clock tick down.
Okay. Anything else coming out there, Josh, or was that it?
I don't know. I'm a bit lost for words, I'll be honest.
Okay.
You're
just happy, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, I'm just really happy. Just really happy. I mean, it was a really, really good race. I hope you caught mine and Traff's battle, because wow, that was really, really good fun and really, really respectful between
No,
me
mate,
and
I was focusing on Shamoy driving around on the back on his own while you two were fighting at the front. You know what I mean? I didn't want to catch the lead battle at all.
That's fair. It's understandable.
No, we saw it all, mate. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, no, it was great to watch. What would you say is sort of the key moments of this season here? Would you put this one up there because it's the first time you've won a round, as in scored the most points to a round for a long time now, since the first half of the season. So, what has been the sort of the key moments of this season for you to win it?
It's been very, very up and down. Obviously, we had some DNFs. I think one was Charlotte Roval, the other one was Spa, which we'll not mention. I think with the drop rounds included, it put me and Traff on very, very close points, would be the word to put it. But I think it's just been a bit of back and forth all season between me and Traff, it's been really fun to see.
Yeah, no, it certainly has been. Not least last week as well. Because how are you feeling after last week, going into this round, knowing that your championship leader effectively had been wiped away in one day?
I was annoyed for the rest of the evening after that race last week, but then woke up the Sunday morning and realised that I think me and Chaff had either 2 points or 5 points between us. The fight was still on. It was going to the last round, and I think it just amped me up a little bit more. I don't think I've practiced the track as much as I've practiced this one, and I kept it very, very quiet as well.
Well, congratulations on winning tonight and getting the title as well. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
My wonderful fiance, my granddad watching at home, my work, Falcon Turbos, and Traff, and just what an incredible season it's been. He's always been really, really fast, and it's just been so much fun to be able to keep up with him this time round and see just how clean and good of a racer that he is. And obviously, again, as always, to you guys as well for putting on a brilliant show. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much for chatting to us again, and congratulations again on the title this season.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks very much. That's Josh Haythwaite, winner this season. A winner tonight as well at Circuit of the Americas. Second place was Traffic King, just falling up short in the end this season, and indeed in this round as well. Traffic, welcome in. Commiserations on a second place finish tonight, and therefore in this championship as well. How did you find that final race of the season there and that battle with Josh?
He gave it big, and didn't he, at the start of the season about GT3s, and he's lived up to it. Yeah, it was mega. It's a good race, that. Josh just had so much pace. I had to do something early to try and slow him down a little bit. But as soon as he went, he was gone.
Yeah, was that the feeling you got right from the start of the race, that you knew that you would have to get in front of him and battle with him from the front like that in order to sort of keep him close for the remainder?
Yeah, I knew I had to try getting his head as soon as he gets in a rhythm, especially when he had 3/4 of a second in quali. As soon as he got that little bit of a gap when I had that moment, that was it. It was, I think he had a couple, to be fair, which sort of reeled it back in a little bit. But yeah, overall he was just gone.
Well, it was a good drive from you, nevertheless, to get to second place. How do you sort of reflect on the season as a whole? Because you, going into last week's race, you must not have been expecting to be this close to a championship anyway. But of course, last week changed this championship completely.
To be fair, it's been close for a few weeks because we've had the double drop rounds, and the championship only showed one until the end of last week. But obviously, I dropped Road Atlanta, which was a double header earlier on in season. So from that, I didn't have any room for error. And then last couple of weeks, I've had a couple of spins on double headers and stuff like that. So it is what it is. It's been good battling all the way through anyway.
Yeah, it certainly has. Well, congratulations on second this season. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Just everyone for some good racing, really. It's always good to get on a Friday night. Everyone's always in high spirits. You boys always put on a good show. And then we're off to ye old iRacing, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Big party in MX-5s.
Calendars are on the screen. The dates are on the screen. If you want to get yourselves involved, you can. Discord link down below as well. Join in and come and have a good old time.
Yeah,
that's it. Plenty of space.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it. Travid, thanks for chatting to us again, and congratulations on finishing second this season.
Cheers. Catch you next time.
Take care, mate.
Thanks very much. That's Trevor King, who finishes second this season, and indeed tonight as well. And third place tonight was Luke Woodhouse, who joins us as well. Luke, welcome in. Congratulations on the podium here tonight, returning back to the series again. I know you were here last week as well. But how was it to be back and running up the front for most of that race, just behind that battle between the top two?
Yeah, start off that battle between the top two was amazing to watch. Spent most of the time looking at those two cars rather than where I was going. But back for the last two rounds. Been a busy boy for the previous rounds. I couldn't make it, unfortunately. But yeah, good to be back and good to end it on a sort of high really for next season. Shows that I've still got some sort of pace, so that's good to see. Yeah,
it certainly is. I mean, talking of next season, we've been chatting about it a little bit already, but 10-round calendar, which we've already seen and spoken about, running all the way to the 13th of March from the first Friday in 2026, in fact, in January. Just Sort of, what are your thoughts and feelings going away from AC, of course, which must be a little bit sad in one sense, and towards iRacing in another?
Yeah, definitely sad. Yeah, you are right, because this was where we first started VCR. So yeah, it's very sad in one point, but also the pros of iRacing really do sort of stand out. I think the race will be better, the servers will be run better. There's a whole lot more, not with car options, but the options you do have are, as accurate as you can get, arguably. So it should make really, really good. And as you can probably tell on some of the tracks we've done, there's a few little fiddly bits with them, like there's a bump here and there that shouldn't be there, and it offsets the car. But the tracks on iRacing are really accurate, so that should hopefully make for a better racing for everyone.
Yeah, I'm certainly a fan of the car choice, by the way, for the season.
Yeah.
That should be that.
The idea was to obviously it's one of the free cars, so arguably people have spent the most time in them. That was the idea behind it. So yeah, hopefully we can do some close racing. We've got a test server right after this. But yeah, I can imagine everyone will be within the same few temps. It'll be a big MX-5 train, I think, front to back.
Yeah, well, that's what you want to see in that kind of racing.
Indeed.
Is there anybody who'd like to shout out, Luke, before we let you go?
You guys, I mean, yeah, you've put on a great stream again this whole season, and we are definitely glad to have you back for next season. All the lads who turn up week in, week out, we wouldn't be able to do and wouldn't be able to have the racing we do have without them putting in the time, putting in the practice, and showing up week in, week out. And so thanks to everyone really who makes this possible.
Well, yeah, a big thanks to you for coming to chat to us, and congrats again tonight on a third place finish to round off the season.
Thank you, guys. I shall catch you next year. Have a good Christmas and New Year, and we shall see you in January.
Man,
absolutely.
take care.
Take care, guys.
Christmas and New Year. That's Luke Woodhouse, third place tonight in the final round of the Virtual Circuit Racing GT3 Championship this season. Well, everyone seems to be in fairly high spirits at the end of the season, even Traffic King, who's missed out on a championship here tonight. Doesn't seem to be too downbeat about it, which I think is a good thing for him and everyone, really. But it's been a great way to end off VCR on AC, really, which I say is surely mixed feelings among the group about. Because I'd say there's not many leagues like this on AC, or indeed not on iRacing, which I think is a bit of a shame. But there are reasons, and as Luke said there, the pros outweighing the cons, as it were, moving to iRacing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the MX-5s are going to bring from the new year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting season. Hopefully they keep their numbers up and we can get more and more drivers in to come and have some fun. Do you know what I mean? I know it is a leap. It is a leap. It's a massive leap of faith to come from AC down into iRacing, and I'm hoping that these guys, pick it up, run with it, get involved, come and have some fun, realise it is worth it, and come and get yourselves out on track. Discord links down below. Any issues, hit us up. Everything should be good. But yeah, come and get yourselves involved in next season.
And to remind you when it is, and indeed what the tracks are, the iRacing calendar will start with Lebanon on the 2nd of January. All these on Fridays, by the way, as these are. Followed by Snetterton, VAR, Alton Park, Navarra before a week off. Oschersleben, Winton, another Alton Park layout, different layouts. Tsukuba, which you're probably excited about, and Lime Rock Park, which will be the final race of the season. I can't tell which one I'm more excited about, to be honest, from that. I quite like
Tsukuba MX-5s. Tsukuba MX-5s. What more do you need? What more do you need?
If you're going to use Tsukuba, I suppose these are the right cars, so I'll accept that. But I quite like Winton as a circuit, to be honest with you. A bit left field. Nobody knows about it, and that's why I like it. So look forward to that on round 7, but that's a long way away at the end of February. But either way, we'll be live with that, of course, the first Friday of January, pretty quick after the new year. So make sure you join us for that one. There's no messing about here. We'll be straight back again with the Virtual Circuit Racing MX-5 Championship on iRacing. Make sure you join us for that. For now, though, from all of us, from myself, Ewan O'Leary, James Parfitt, everyone who's been watching VCR here, have a good Christmas and New Year, and we'll catch you all back in this series in 2026. Goodbye for now.